Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the college football show for week 12. Hopefully everybody is having a wonderful Tuesday. Lots to discuss, of course. You know, we had a big weekend last weekend, even though we lost a bunch of games, and we're kind of en route to lose a bunch more again this week. It's still fun. We're still getting to play football. I'm excited about it, so hopefully you are as well. Go ahead and give a quick shout-out. Chad Nelson is his birthday today. Hopefully we're going to win you some money this weekend, my friend. That is our plan. So let's go ahead and give you guys an idea of what you need to do before we even get started, right? We need to go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. That's where everything is. I mean, all these videos, all the different articles, we both write an article every week, and it's right there. It's easy to find. We've got a slew of great writers, man. Fantastic stuff over there. They deep dive into as many games as you could possibly do. The biggest games and the smaller games. They give you the best underdog picks, everything else. So go check it out. sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. If you would do us a favor, if you're watching right now, go ahead and like the video. It's that little thumbs up button. Hit that like button. Share it out with your friends. Tell everybody you know about it. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because not only do we do this on Tuesdays, we also do the opening line show on Mondays, and we do the closing line show on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So this one right here, every single week, I'm telling you, we will be here, rain or shine, doesn't matter. We're going to be rocking and rolling. So we are ready to go. You can also do yourself a favor and go win some money. If you feel good about your picks this week, because I see a bunch of guys jumping in with teasers and money line and everything else, right? Go ahead and go over to sbrpicks.com/pick6. That's PICK6. Enter in there. It's free. You can pick NFL games, college games, whatever, and you can win your share of up to $1,700 in cash prizes. So knock that bad boy out and do yourself that favor. Let's go ahead and jump into our Week 11 recap. And I got back on track. I'm feeling good about myself now. Went 5-2 last week in our official picks from Tuesday and had a pretty good day on Saturday. Now, if you ever watch the show on Saturday, at the end of the day, we give out some of our favorite bets of the morning. I went 6-3-1 on that. And honestly, I gave out the Northwestern one at 27. It had already dropped by the time I gave it out. And that could have made it 7-3. But I personally went 6-3-1 on Saturday's picks. I went 5-2 last week. That puts me at 40-34-2 on the season, 54.05%. We are back in the positive. After 2 miserable, horrible weeks, I'm back in the positive. Chris went 3-4, which is okay. Yeah. Like it's better than what you were doing some of those weeks
at the beginning of the week, at the beginning of the season. Yes.
Ooh, man.
Well, I knew I was going to come back down to earth.
Now some people come crashing back to earth.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I was glad to get the Friday night win, so I could breathe a little bit. Knew I wasn't going to go over. But yeah, I'm dead nuts on it. 500.
You got it. 36-36. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. So let's go ahead and dive into our first game. Now, before we do this, go ahead and remind you guys, we're not going to be able to hit every single game, right? Before we start all these, go ahead and talk to you about Maction. I know a bunch of you guys want to know what's going on with that tonight. I'll go ahead and tell you which way I'm leaning, okay? We've got Buffalo tonight, minus 31.5. It doesn't matter. Bowling Green is that bad. Scott Loeffler and Brian Van Gorder, maybe the worst coaching duo in the history of college football. They are really, really bad. Name the number. Buffalo is going to be able to cover this easily. Akron, also pretty bad. Kent State, they look to put up a bunch of points every single time they play. I know it's up at 26.5, 26, 25.5. I would still roll with Kent State on that. I wouldn't touch the total on either one of those because I can't count on the other team to score points. So that's the way I would go with that. So none of these are official plays, by the way. This is just the way that I am leaning. Okay. I will say I do have money on Buffalo, but it's not a sizable amount. It's not my usual play. It's just something to have a little action, a little skin in the game. Wednesday night games, Northern Illinois and Ball State. I would probably lean Northern Illinois, even though I hate them with everything in my soul. I don't like what they're doing, but I do think that there is value here. So, I don't like Ball State that much. They didn't show me a whole lot against Buffalo. Now that is Buffalo, but either way. Toledo and Eastern Michigan, not touching it. No way. No chance. No how. Stay as far away from this as possible. Eastern Michigan, I love watching them play because I love their coach, Chris Creighton. He's fantastic. Toledo, Jason Candle. I don't know if I can trust them. So, Western Michigan and Central Michigan, That is going to be a fantastic ball game. Central Michigan, ton of returning starters back this year. Like, they're number 24 in FBS in returning production. Western Michigan is like number 119. Now, Western Michigan has looked pretty good in the first 2 ball games. I tend to lean the other way. I like Central Michigan, even though all the action is coming in on, I say all the action, the line movement is coming in on Western Michigan. It's back to about 50-50 now, but I'm rolling Central Michigan. I think they win the ball game tomorrow night. That is the way that I would go. All right, let's dive into the biggest games of the weekend. Biggest one right now, the Fox Big Noon kickoff. Indiana going to Ohio State. This is number 9 against number 3. Ohio State currently a 20.5-point favorite. Total of 66 is 12 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. The Big Noon kickoff. We get Gus, we get Joel Klatt, we get all that good stuff, and it's a quote-unquote top 10 matchup, right? And everybody's had fun with Indiana, and now they're ranked in the top 10, and this is so great for the Hoosiers and all this. And the prediction tracker even sides with, hey, like, this should be a closer line, right? It's 16.58 in favor of Ohio State. That is the prediction tracker average of all the metrics and whatnot. You toss all these numbers in a thing, and it pops that out, right? Look, Ohio State beat this team 51-10 last year, and I think they may do it again. Now, if you want to look at numbers, Indiana is top 25 in all 4 defensive efficiency categories, and that's great. Ohio State, their biggest weakness would be against the pass.
Correct.
However, I don't think they're going to have any issue with Indiana this year. Like, Indiana 7-3 against the spread, 0-10 straight up against Ohio State in the last 10 years. Indiana is 5-0 against the spread in Columbus the last 5 times that they've gone. But those numbers have been gargantuan. I want to believe in Indiana, but I cannot do it. If I had to lean a certain way, I would roll Ohio State here, especially under 3 touchdowns. I mean, that seems crazy to me.
I don't know. I think they can keep it closer just because I think they can score.
Maybe.
Like, the idea that Ohio State might score 51 again. Indiana's not coming close to 10. They're going to score way more than that.
Maybe. I mean, Penn State did put up 25 points on them. But
I just don't know. I don't know what metric you're using to think that Ohio State will keep this a low-scoring game for Indiana.
And maybe you're right. I'm not
saying they'll cover. 3 touchdowns is pretty easy, but to think that this is going to be low scoring for Indiana.
Well, I don't know that it's going to be low scoring. I mean, what is considered low scoring?
Well, I don't know. You gave out a 51-10 from last year that I don't know that means anything.
Well, I mean, it's not the exact same teams, but, you know, they're relatively similar.
I don't think they're similar at all. I think Ohio State is substantially worse on defense. I think Indiana is substantially better on offense.
Okay. So
you don't think that's right?
I think Indiana has beaten a lot of really bad teams, and it's made their numbers and whatnot look a whole lot better. I think they have still struggled to score in big spots.
Okay.
And
the Ohio State would probably be the play unless this gets over 21.5, and I don't see them doing that. I see them sitting here, and they're not giving you that extra point and a half. So you know, but to just poo-poo, I'm not playing it because I think it's way too close to call.
Yeah. And I would tend to agree with that. Let's see. James jumps in. Ohio State is a different type of animal. Chad said Maryland put up 28 in the first half against Penn State. I thought he was talking about the Ohio State Maryland thing from last week. Yeah, I mean, it's Birdie said, hasn't Ohio's schedule been disrupted the last 2 weeks? Yeah, they had last week off, so they got a bye week before this game. I mean, and it wasn't their fault. Like,
I don't know
they
that
hadn't had
helps.
COVID issues.
I don't know that helps the defense, but
I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. I tend to think that Ohio State will kind of name their number here, and
they
we'll
might be able to name their number. They don't get to dictate the other team's number because they don't have that good of a defense to do that.
Okay, we shall see. We shall see. Gwen jumps in and said the over will go over.
Yeah, if I had to play anything, it'd play the over. The over's big. The over's a big number.
Yeah, 66.
But I don't think that. I think they're gonna obliterate that.
And you might be right about it. You might be right. So yeah, I mean, Indiana has covered every time they've gone to Columbus over the last 10 years. So,
and now while that helps, I guess the argument in my favor, if you're saying I don't think that matters at all.
No, it doesn't, because this is a completely
That's
different
just
Indiana
something
team.
that we say.
Yes. This is just trends.
We're
It's just trends.
filling air.
Let's move on to the next game. Another big-time ranked matchup in the Big Ten. Wisconsin headed over to Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois. I was going to say Indiana. Those guys will be mad about that. Good gracious. Northwestern is number 19 in the country. They are hosting at number 10, Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is a 7.5-point favorite. Total of 45 here. And I think that's way too many points.
Yeah, this is going to be the best game in the afternoon if you like defense, you like well-coached football teams.
Yes.
Tough, close ball games. This has potential to be that.
3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. The prediction tracker has it Wisconsin minus 8.48. At one point, the early analytics that come out that just look at numbers and don't include anything else, whatever, had Wisconsin by like 14. And once they started getting
wrong.
Yeah, once they started getting all these other numbers in, then it dropped down to like 8.48. I think 7.5, probably the right number. A lot of people initially on the opening line show told us, hey, Wisconsin is going to drub these guys. Look, if you're just going based off results this year, Wisconsin has beaten two really bad teams.
That's right.
Northwestern has actually played and beaten much better competition. Last week, Graham Mertz, the quarterback for Wisconsin, did not look all that great, like at all. 12 out of 22, 150-something yards, whatever. They didn't need him to look great against Michigan, but he certainly looked rusty after being off for 3 weeks, right? Now he gets a full week of practice. Does he come in and just pick up where he left off in that first game? Who knows? I tend to trust Northwestern's defense a whole lot here. That secondary is legit. That defensive line is legit. Northwestern is a live dog here. 5-1 against the spread, 3-3 straight up their last 6 against Wisconsin. Northwestern is also 5-1 straight up and against the spread the last 6 at home against Wisconsin. So they tend to play them pretty well when they get them in Ryan Field, regardless of fans. And I'll tell you this, Northwestern is used to not having a ton of fans up there anyway. We know that. I love them to death, but they are used to it. So I don't think the fan thing matters here. I think playing in the comfy confines of Ryan Field, I think helps him out a little bit here. At 7.5, I would lean Northwestern.
Yeah, if I get the hook, I'd probably take Northwestern. If I had to play it, I think it's too close for my call. I want Northwestern to win this game. I like Northwestern a lot. But this offense scares me. Wisconsin's defense is really good. Ramsey has been very loose with the ball. He just worries me.
He's a bit of a gunslinger. Peyton Ramsey he's fun to watch. I am impressed with their offense.
I also think their offense gets very predictable in games.
It can.
That worries me.
It can. So our boys in the Westlake Pirates, their most recent podcast kind of breaks down everything that's going on the offense. I love what they're doing as far as the eye candy and running different plays out of the same sets and all that, where it's making the defense think a whole lot.
Yes.
Wisconsin has not had a whole lot to deal with as far as that goes. So that could help out Northwestern a bit. I do like the under 45 here a lot. That will be one of my official plays. I think this is a slugfest. I think this is 21-17, 21-14, 20-30, something like that.
I don't know that somebody hits 20 points. I mean, I just think points are going to come hard.
It could absolutely be a 17-10.
I mean, the turnovers are going to be the defining factor of this game.
Yeah.
If Ramsey turns the ball over, which I think he's got 2 in every game so far, maybe he didn't last week, but that was a defense that's not very good.
Yeah. I don't know. Purdue's
if Ramsey gets loose with the ball, which he has in every game so far, this can go Wisconsin's way pretty easily, and it could blow that number bad.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Go ahead and remind you guys, we are not going to be able to cover every game. Hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And you ask us any question over there, we will answer it. We will give you our opinion on it, whether we have a strong one or not. We'll just let you know which way we're feeling. So hit us up on Twitter. Moving into the third big game of the weekend, Oklahoma State going to Oklahoma. We got Bedlam, and we got fans, and we got College Game Day coming to town. We got number 14 against number 18. Oklahoma is a 7-point favorite with a total of 59. That total has not moved. It is just sitting there. And when I said the other day that I would take the over, I was completely wrong. When I dug into this game, Oklahoma, so there's a stat that's flying around on Twitter, right? This, by the way, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. They're talking about Oklahoma has scored 40 offensive touchdowns, and Oklahoma State's only scored 18 this year. Well, okay, let's take out, Kansas and Texas Tech and, whatever, like some of the weaker bunch. Let's take those out. Let's take out the Missouri State game and all that, and then it gets back to a more reasonable thing. Now, Oklahoma certainly has the better offense. I don't know that they've got the better players, per se. I think Spencer Sanders is pretty exciting. I don't know that he's as good as Spencer Rattler. We got 2 Spencers in this game. Just realize that. Tylan Wallace is going to be the best wide receiver on the field, 100%. There is no way you can convince me otherwise. And I do think that Oklahoma State's got the better running back, and I think Oklahoma State's got the better defense. So when this opened at 9.5?
Yeah, it opened 9.5.
I grabbed it immediately. So this won't be an official play from me. I do have money on it. Lower limits on the early ones, but of course, I do like Oklahoma State to be able to keep this game close. Oklahoma State, as far as the trends go, 2-8 straight up in the last 10 against Oklahoma, 4-6 against the spread. The Sooners have had 5 straight wins in the series. They are 4-1 against the spread. Oklahoma State, however, 3-1 against the spread. Their last 4 at Oklahoma. So, you're looking at a whole lot of different things here. Last year doesn't matter, I don't think, at all, because Oklahoma won 34-16, but there was no Spencer Sanders, there was no Tylan Wallace. Oklahoma State was just trying to get to the end of the season, and Oklahoma was working their way towards the playoffs. So it was a whole different deal. Let's see. Chad said Oklahoma hitting their stride. Not sure I want to touch this one. I would honestly lean Oklahoma, and that's totally fair. Totally fair. But if I had to go a certain way, I would go Oklahoma State right now. Just because I think the better defense here, Oklahoma is hitting their stride against terrible teams. It's easy to hit your stride. Had Kansas played against Oklahoma State last week, we would have said the same thing. And that's the last game that Oklahoma played was against Kansas. And the one before that was Texas Tech. What are we doing? We're comparing them to these teams now? So,
but that's the Big 12.
It's
a lot of bad teams. It's a lot of bad football. Now, I like OK State. I like Mike Gundy. I think this defense is good. I think this offense is going to look better than they've looked all year because Gundy's going to be ready for this game. And this Oklahoma defense hasn't gotten fixed, guys. No. It's still just as putrid as it was in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. They're just playing lesser opponents.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got no problem taking OK State in the points. I loved it at 9.5. It's no longer an official play for me at 7, but I'll be having money on the money line for Oklahoma State. I think this is the year Gundy gets the monkey off his back and he gets to beat Oklahoma.
I will go ahead and say this: Oklahoma State 9-1 against the spread. Their last 10 as an underdog. That's over the last however many years. They have not been an underdog yet this year. That's the way it goes. When Gundy is an underdog, they find a way to cover. Now, I don't know that they win, but I do think that they keep it close, and I do think that they cover. And I, like Chris, might end up I might roll with some money line action.
Yeah, I think they got a shot. They're a live dog.
Yes, they are. Let's move on to the 4th biggest game, and that would be number 7 Cincinnati headed down to Orlando to face off against UCF. So the Knights at home in the Bounce House in Orlando. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Cincinnati is a 5.5-point favorite right now, 63.5 the total. Prediction Tracker has got this Cincy minus 4.53. Oh, Prediction Tracker for the last one, by the way, Oklahoma minus 7.2, so right on the number. Cincy minus 4.5 here per Prediction Tracker. Cincy 1-3 against the spread straight up the last 4 against UCF. However, they did win last year at home 27-24. They shut down that UCF offense, and it's a little strange to see UCF in this position. They have not been a home underdog since 2016. That is a long, long time. They have been an underdog in bowl games and whatnot. They are 2-1 against the spread in those spots. I don't know. My initial thought on this was Cincinnati is going to just murder everybody.
Yep.
That's kind of how I felt about it. But I do wonder, UCF at home, national TV, there's going to be fans. They hadn't been a home underdog in 4 years. Like, do they have enough in the tank to be able to pull something out? Does Josh Heupel and that offense find a way to score enough points to maybe eke out a win here?
I don't think so. I think Cincinnati is as keyed in as they've ever been. And UCF played great, couldn't beat Memphis. Played sloppy, got beat by Tulsa. Yeah. Cincinnati is worlds better talented than both of those teams.
I think so.
I mean, worlds better.
Lomar jumps in. I like Cincy as a team, but I think this line's a little inflated. UCF's offense is going to keep them in it. Here's the thing. James has been listening to us. Cincinnati is built to stop these types of teams. Yep. These types of offenses.
Everybody runs. SMU's offense couldn't stop them, couldn't keep them in the game. Memphis's offense couldn't keep them in the game. Both those offenses are every bit as good as UCF's. Yeah. They're every bit as good as UCF's. I can't say definitively that UCF's offense is better than either one of those other two teams. So to use that argument doesn't make any sense when they've done it twice to two teams that are comparable, if not better.
Goob said, hate when people try to compare UCF to SMU and Houston. We're not comparing the team.
I would like to know why Memphis you hate that comparison. Because it seems to be an astute comparison. They seem to be built identically.
Yeah, it's not the exact same offense, but they all run tempo. They all run this super wide spread, and they've got different ways that they attack, right? UCF likes to run it a little more. Memphis also runs it. I mean, those offenses are very, very similar. SMU does run a lot under Sonny Dykes, but they tend to pass more. The same thing every time. Cincinnati knows how to compress the game.
That's right.
And
they're going to squeeze this game down. UCF is going to score less than they've scored all year.
Lomar said UCF's offense is more dynamic than SMU and Houston, in my opinion, also even more up-tempo. And yes, you're right. Very much like Memphis's.
I was just
who was held to 10 points.
Yeah, I don't understand how they're more dynamic than Memphis when Memphis went tit for tat with them all game long.
Yeah,
and did the exact same thing they do the entire game.
Yeah, Gerald knows what's up. He said styles make fights since he has the recipe. That's the way that I would lean here. The line did scare me a little bit. It's still under a touchdown, though.
Yeah, as long as it's under a touchdown, I'm fine. When it opened at 3, I knew it wasn't going to get to a touchdown.
Yeah,
so I'm not worried about that.
So it went up to 6. It's come back down to 5.5, and Goob said they boat race every team they play. SMU, Houston, and Memphis do not. Okay, I mean, we'll see. We have seen UCF.
Well, they didn't boat race Memphis,
and they didn't
boat race Tulsa. Yeah. So I don't understand how you can use that kind of logic.
I don't either. But we'll keep fighting with you if you want. So Ryan Kennedy said Cincy and eat their chili. Hey, you know what? I had a guy tell me today that we need to go to Cincinnati and eat some chili up there. I was asking about places to go eat.
I like Cincinnati a whole lot as a town, but I'm not a Cincinnati chili fan.
I hadn't had it.
It's gross.
You're just trying to fire some of these people up, aren't you?
No, I'm just speaking the truth. So you're going to take some skinny guy from Cincinnati's opinion of food over me? No.
I watched, anyway.
Let's go.
We'll talk about some barbecue later. Moving on, 5th biggest game, App State and Coastal Carolina. Goodness gracious. The Shants. You know how much we love Coach Jamie Chadwell. App State last week had a bunch of stuff go wrong. Coastal, by the way, prediction tracker has got this minus 2.92 in favor of the Shants. So, however, that does not include the fact that App State quarterback Zach Thomas was carted off the field at the end of the last game. Now, he has been released from the hospital. Everything came out negative. He appears to be okay. Still not sure if he's going to play this weekend. Their starting running back, Harrington, he is going to miss for a second straight week. He was out last week, and obviously that offense was not able to do very much against Georgia State, which is surprising because that defense is putrid. And they got several guys dinged up on the defense. That is not a good recipe when you're going up against a team that has not played in 2 weeks. That is rip-raring to go. Last year, App State beat this team 56-37, and if you think that they ain't ready to get that bunch on the teal field, you are crazy. I like Coastal a lot here. They are 0-3 all-time against App State. 1-2 against the spread. Their only cover was back in 2017. I think that this is the game that has been circled for this bunch for weeks now, since the Louisiana game. Everything else seemed, I think we I think we'll be able to get this one. App State has been where their focus has been for weeks at this point. I think they are going to come out raring to go. I do like Coastal minus the big number. Like, I know that it's 5.5. Total is 48. I ain't touching that one because I kind of like the defenses here.
Yep.
But I do like Coastal.
Yeah, I do too.
Like, Grayson McCall is just a difference maker for
all
that
the
offense.
issues App State has. App State is not covered. What are they? 1-7, 1-6 against the spread.
Yeah,
they've covered
great.
one game.
Yeah.
All year. They're just. I mean, some of those numbers were big,
and they haven't been an underdog all year.
Yeah,
so
that's a little bit different. That the fact that some of those numbers are gigantic and they're not covering them. I guess you can't really fault a team for that. I just think Coastal's playing their best football. They've had 2 weeks to get ready for this game. App State, you went through the litany of issues that they are dealing with to get personnel and players on the field to be able to even get this game in.
Yeah, and it's not a COVID thing. It's
it's just injuries.
Yeah,
yeah,
just injuries. James said Coastal shows up and shows out.
I think
Gerald,
so too.
Hey, Gerald said we don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
Yeah, we
need more dogs. Let's get it. Let's get it. So yeah, I do like Coastal in that spot. Let's move into the interesting games. Before we do that, again, still not going to be able to hit all the games this week. Follow us on Twitter. You can ask us about whatever game. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And make sure that you go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. We cover a ton more games over there. And people that are much smarter than we are actually write about these things. You might get a little more knowledge from them. They may not be as entertaining. They're not going to talk to you about chili, but, you know. Moving on to the interesting games. First one up, Clemson at Florida State. Florida State is a 35-point underdog at home, 65.5, and basically everybody has left that program in Tallahassee. Tamorrion Terry opted out. He is getting ready for the NFL. Marvin Wilson, their first-round talent defensive tackle, has to have a surgery. He wants to go ahead and get that done before the NFL draft prep. Totally makes sense. James Blackman, it doesn't matter that he was leaving because he was never playing anyway. So it is now up to Chubba Purdy and Jordan Travis, the two quarterbacks there. Clemson got beat the last time we saw them. Then they had last week off. And now they get Trevor back. I don't know that 35 is enough. The team total is at 50. I would go over the 50. I don't think Florida State can score. I think Clemson is going to get some of those defensive guys back. I know you hate this game. Prediction tracker, Clemson minus 30.2. You know, Francisco, it's not every other game. Good gracious. Yeah, I want to talk about it because I wonder about Clemson. Like, I just wonder
about like they're not a good team.
No, I just wonder about their mindset in this spot, right?
Who cares what their mindset is? They're absolutely worlds better than Florida State. This is a big boy school beating up a little kid.
And James said Clemson's going to make a statement. I feel bad for FSU. Clemson might score 70.
There's no reason to talk about this anymore.
Moving on to the next game, LSU and Arkansas. And I know you want to talk about this one.
Well, yeah. This is actually a good game.
Arkansas is a 2.5-point underdog as it sits. They opened as a 2.5-point favorite.
A lot of line movement here. That's insane.
65 is the total. It's kind of a big big total.
The total's right. I think that's right.
Who's going to play for LSU?
What do you mean who's going to play for LSU?
Like, is it? Well, I mean, there's still COVID issues going on. So,
well, okay, I but they don't release players' names, so
I hope
I don't have an answer
some
for
insight,
that.
You know?
How do I have insight? I live up here. I'm 6.5 hours away.
What's the guy's name? TJ Finley?
Well, Finley's going to be the quarterback.
He's going to be the quarterback.
Finley's going to be the quarterback.
So the last time that we saw LSU was 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Getting smashed at Auburn.
Correct.
And now they go to Fayetteville against an Arkansas team that we believe is going to have Sam Pittman back.
Yes. And I think Arkansas is very good.
Prediction tracker has LSU minus, I've got 4.75.
It was 5.5. Yeah. It was 5.5, and the line went from Arkansas -2 to now LSU -2. I think that's a little insane. The only thing I can think of is maybe Arkansas now has some players dealing with COVID. I don't know that. I just don't know why the line movement. I don't know why all of a sudden the world is on LSU. Well, they're not. The percentage of bets, 41% on LSU, 69% on Arkansas. So the line movement doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's strange. And see, there's a bunch of guys in here jumping in. James
Come
said,
on now.
I like
Somebody
Arkansas.
said it's like watching the Jets and the Cowboys. This is going to be a fun game. There won't be a lot of defense play, but it'll be a fun game.
I lean Arkansas. Arkansas is due not to cover. Well, they didn't cover last week, Casey.
Yeah.
Francisco said, Chris, I hope LSU wins. I won't have money on it.
I just want the win. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. Just get another damn win on the season, please.
Yeah, there were several people in here. Matthew Williams said Arkansas wipes the floor with LSU.
I don't know that anybody's wiping the floor with them. They're going to score. The reason this over-under is so high is because LSU's still going to put up points. We just can't stop anybody. Arkansas is going to run the ball better than they've ran on anybody all year long because everybody runs on LSU. Just end rounds outside. Edges are going to crash in. They just have no discipline.
Yeah,
and that's just going to happen. And unless something magical has happened and our defensive backs have figured out how to cover people a little bit better, that they're going to give up big busted plays. Now, I do think Felipe Franks is going to turn the ball over a few times.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I wonder if the talent discrepancy is the biggest indicator.
Talent discrepancy has not mattered in one single game this year.
And no, you're right about that. I mean, Arkansas is less talented than basically everybody that they've been playing with.
Yes.
So,
and LSU is more talented than every team not named Florida that we've played all year.
Actually,
we didn't play Florida and we didn't play Bama. So the only two teams more talented than we've avoided, and they haven't looked good. So talent has not mattered.
This is true. All right, let's move it to the next one, and this has become a big-time TV spot game. San Diego State at Nevada. This is a 3:30 p.m. Eastern time game on CBS. It moves over from CBS Sports Network because Ole Miss and A&M has been canceled or postponed or whatever.
That was going to be a fantastic game, too.
Yes, I thought that was going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be an amazing
game.
But
man, I got to tell you, I love watching the Aztecs play, and the Wolfpack from Nevada, they're undefeated. Jay Norvell doing good things over there.
All right.
So this is an interesting game. It's 1.5 in favor of San Diego State. I think you can find some twos out there or whatever. Total of 46.5. And, I tend to lean the under here. Now, I'm not gonna dive into it too much, but San Diego State's defense is number one in the country in yards per play defense. And they lost. Now, what scares me off of this right now is
the number one in the country number is complete bullshit. They're a good defense.
They're really good defense.
Let's hang it up at that, okay?
Well, okay, that's fine. Brady Hoke in that bunch, they run that 3-3-5 defense. It is fascinating to watch how much it confuses teams. I think it will do the same thing with Nevada again. But I got to tell you, I don't know what to make of that one game against San Jose State where they turned the football over 3 times in the fourth quarter. That's what scares me to death. I don't know if I can trust. It's a Houston Nut, right?
Okay.
Can I trust you? Can I trust you? And I don't know if I can trust them. So I'm scared off of it a little bit. I'm certainly leaning. You got guys laughing at your face now.
People have been laughing at my face my entire life.
Well, I'm giving you things to smirk at a little bit this week. But yes, I love San Diego State. I'm scared of them, but and Francisco brings up something interesting.
You can get San Diego State right now at BetOnline at a pick'em.
100% going to hop on it.
I'm not interested in this game. I think San Diego State's a lot better than Nevada. Nevada might be much improved. That's fine. They're not as good as San Diego State. I don't think this is
that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. James said Nevada at home or stay away.
Oh, okay.
Hey, cheers to you. Cheers to you. I will tell you this. I'm leaning Aztecs. So if I can still get them a pick 'em after this ball game, 100% hopping on that one. Iowa at Penn State is the next game. Headed up to Happy Valley. Penn State, a 2.5-point home dog here. They opened as a 3-point favorite. Talk about some more line movement. This is pretty nuts. Total of 47. Iowa has looked like world beaters the last 2 weeks, and it is amazing how much better you can look when you're not playing against Northwestern or Purdue, right? When you're not playing against competent football teams, you all of a sudden become like a national title contender. Wink, wink, Wisconsin. When you're not playing against competent teams, you can look really, really good. Like Michigan did that first game against Minnesota, right? So Iowa goes to Minnesota last week, wins. They bring Floyd back. They win 35-7. It's a bloodbath. It's whatever. And now all of a sudden everybody loves Iowa again. Penn State sitting there lowly 0-4. At some point, I feel like Penn State's going to have to play for pride. I don't know that it matters if they play for pride. I do think that if they play Will Levis, it's going to be a little bit different because you don't have the crippling turnovers from Sean Clifford. Clifford cannot run Kurt Soraka's offense. He just can't.
I don't know that you don't have turnovers in this game. Iowa's a really good defense.
No, they certainly are.
Iowa's a really good and they're really good at taking the ball away. They've either pushed or won the turnover battle in every game.
Well, that's where I'm going with this.
Even the games they lost, they still won the turnover or pushed the turnover battle. I'm just telling you, this is just.
William jumped in. He said, Kerry Collins isn't coming back to save this Penn State team.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, there's a better chance that more people jump off of the Penn State bandwagon and opt out than they improve and they start fighting for the rest of the season because there's nothing to play for.
Yeah, Willie Jones jumped in. Penn State is straight trash. Penn State going to bury square bettors this week. Like, I could understand somebody wanting to take Penn State in this spot. I wouldn't do it. I think Iowa is the significantly better football team. I think they will be able to handle them at the line of scrimmage, and that's what you're going to need because it's not like their quarterback is, all that great. So you're going to have to dominate in the trenches, and I think that Iowa can handle that. Yeah, Casey said, why is Penn State only a 2-point underdog? Take Penn State money line and thank me later. Well, because they opened as a 3-point favorite. Like, yeah.
But that's what's crazy. That's what they're saying though is somebody knows something we don't know.
Yeah, that's what's freaky about it, right? So,
but we've seen that several times this year.
Yeah,
and it sometimes goes that way, and sometimes it doesn't. And so that I have to stop using that as logic.
Yeah, I mean, just like everything else, it's a coin flip.
I need to see. I need to see what I've seen. Says this ain't a coin flip. What I've seen is one team is substantially better than the other.
Yes, you are right about that. Moving on, next game, Kentucky at Alabama. Alabama, a 30.5-point favorite. Total of 58.5. It's 4 p.m. Eastern time on the SEC Network. Prediction Tracker has it Alabama minus 25.67 here. And look, Kentucky, I was high on their defense up until last week. And Vanderbilt put 35 points on them. And I had to go back, because I will tell you, I did not watch this game in person. I went back and I read through the play-by-play, and I actually watched. Nobody watched it? Yeah.
Not in person.
No, absolutely
nobody was allowed in the stadium.
I don't know that anybody was allowed to watch it on SEC Network. It was an entertaining game once you saw what was going on. But Kentucky allowed drives of like 11 plays, 10 plays. Like, these were 75-yard drives that Vanderbilt was scoring on. They had no issues. Their success rate was through the roof in this game on offense for Vanderbilt. Now, Kentucky also put up 38 points, but I don't necessarily know what that means. But if you were allowing Vanderbilt to score 35 points on your defense, there is something wrong there. So I thought that this would be the team that might break that Alabama NCAA record of 19 straight games scoring 35 or more. I don't believe that anymore. This looks like a 41-14, 45-14 kind of ball game. I'm not going to bet it. Like, that number's just ridiculous. But
is the only reason we talk about Clemson against bad teams is so you can justify talking about Alabama against bad teams?
No, we talk about the big teams.
They're not playing big games though.
Okay. So anyway, moving on. Kansas State versus Iowa State.
This will be a good game.
This will be
a spectacular game. This is a great game to talk about.
Iowa State is an 11-point favorite. 46.5 is the total. This line opened at 7.5? I believe that's right. 7.5, somewhere around there.
I don't know what it opened.
4 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. It is in the national window. It's National Fox game, all that good stuff. Iowa State Prediction Tracker says the Cyclones by 6.99. I don't know what to make of it. By the way, Birdie said, what's Alabama's team total? It's 45. So that's I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't touch it. As far as Kansas State goes, Kansas State is like 4-1 straight up and against the spread the last 5 games against Iowa State. They won last year, like at 27-17 at home as a 4.5-point dog. I like Kansas State in this spot. Like their offense has not been trustworthy whatsoever, but this coach and this team find ways to stay in ball games. They should have never been in that game with Oklahoma State, and yet there they were right there at the very end. It was a 20-18 game. I tend to think that Kansas State is going to be able to keep this game close. A lot of people jumped all over Iowa State early because if you go and you look at the metrics and whatnot, Iowa State's offense, yeah, this and that. But, I mean, don't forget, Iowa State does not cover very well as a big-time favorite. They were a 14-point favorite just a couple of weeks ago against Baylor and only won by 7. And
Baylor's a bad football team.
Yes, and Kansas State's a good football team. So, a lot of people, Nathan said maybe in Kansas, Gary, not in Iowa. Look, I like Kansas State here. I really do. I think that Kansas State is a live dog here because they are still in the Big 12 hunt. And Iowa State is at the top of the rankings right now. So this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. You excited to watch this one?
Yeah, I'm very interested to watch it. I think the line's too high for me to take Iowa State. There's no way I can trust Kansas State. I would not take Kansas State. But I went in this game wanting to take Iowa State. When I saw it was 10, I didn't like it. Got bet up to 11. Definitely didn't like that. So it was just kind of a walk away for me. But yeah, this is going to be a good game. This is going to be a fun game. They're two well-coached teams.
Before I move into the next one here, Francisco jumped in and said, please touch on SMU Houston. I know that you were mentioning something about them before we went live. It's not one of our games, but are you?
It's not because that's a good game. We could have fit that in when we talked about those 35-point lines. Yeah, I like SMU. I can't figure out for the life of me. I thought the line's pretty close. I don't know that SMU blows them out, but I think SMU is a substantially better team than Houston is. My thing that thought was weird, I thought SMU was going to be a very square play. I thought it was going to be a very public play. And I know it's Tuesday, and this number is going to change greatly by the time we actually get to Saturday. But right now, it's like 91% of the bets are all coming in on Houston. That shocked me because I thought SMU, the way I was going to be playing, was going to be the square public play.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be. Makes me feel a little bit better about it. But I think SMU is just a way better team.
Let's see. We had Exo Mount Hood that said they might not even play the game.
No,
I have not heard anything about that.
They're talking about Kansas State.
Oh.
He said Kansas State because earlier he said Kansas State's very, very close to not being able to field a team this week.
We shall see. We shall see. I saw a little bit about that. I didn't think it was any major players, but
well, if they don't have enough, it doesn't matter if it's a major or not.
Agreed. Moving on to the next big game, Liberty and NC State. Now, this one I know you're excited about.
Yes.
3.5 points in favor of NC State. This one's in Raleigh. 67 is the total, and Hugh Freeze and the Flames have a chance to go 3-0 against the ACC this year. And they still got Coastal Carolina left on the schedule.
That's right.
So they are currently undefeated. This is a 7:30 p.m. Eastern time game on ESPN3. You have to stream it. You have to have the ESPN app, all that kind of mess to be able to watch it. So kind of a dud. They don't have any games on ACC Network, which nobody can get anyway. But I figured they would have found somewhere to put this ball game, and it makes no sense. Just ridiculous. So I love Liberty. I love, give me liberty or give me death, all that kind of mess that's been floating out there. I'm all over this, but I am terrified of this. I think NC State is a pretty good football team, even with oh God, what's the kid's name? Brady Hot something, whatever. Anyway, I've completely blanked. Excuse me. Liberty is certainly, guys jump in. Liberty's a true Cinderella story. But I do think NC State's okay.
NC State can score.
And they can certainly score. And I don't think that NC State makes the same kind of errors that Virginia Tech does. Like, am I crazy for looking at it that way?
Well, no, NC State's defense isn't as close to as good as Virginia Tech. So while they might not make as many mistakes, they're going to give up way more big plays.
Total of 67. That looks like an over.
Yeah. It's 66.5 at most places. Well, I guess it's probably fluctuating, going back up and down. Yeah, I don't think they keep this within 70. I think this is busting. basically any over unless we get a lot of line movement going up, which we've gotten in the past. But NC State's going to be able to score. That's going to happen. Liberty's defense isn't that great, and NC State's offense has looked very, very capable, competent, and good. I like Liberty. I think Liberty can win the game outright. You get to catch a couple of points, and I don't think that NC State is going to stop Liberty from scoring all night long.
Yeah. James said NC State will score. Over looks good. Yeah. Birdie said this has to be a letdown spot for Liberty. No way am I betting Liberty this week. NC State or nothing. Why would this be a letdown?
No, it wouldn't be a letdown spot because you're going to a big boy school. If they played a smaller school, that would be a letdown. But
yeah,
you're not gonna you're gonna get up for an ACC opponent.
Oh, I mean they played Western Carolina last week.
Yeah,
so
basically 2 weeks to prepare.
Yep, you got that right. All right, last big game before we jump into our picks. USC headed to Utah, and we are going to talk about this game as if it is happening. Who knows? Because there was talk about it being canceled yesterday. And then everything went through, and it's fine. They're keeping it on the schedule. We're moving ahead. If it doesn't get played, USC is playing against Colorado because their game against Arizona State was already canceled. So, or postponed, or whatever you want to call it. Utah is a 3-point underdog at home in this spot. Prediction Tracker has Utah as a 5-point favorite. However,
but they have no data points on Utah.
No, we got nothing. It's Utah's first time out there. They are returning basically nobody on defense. They are losing both of their stars on offense in Tyler Huntley and Zach Moss. 57.5 for the total. William Bush said USC playing in the snow. That's scary. Here's the thing. Utah against those air raid type teams has not been good. Like they did the same thing last year. Everybody thought Utah was going to go into USC and drub them because USC had not looked good to start the season, etc. USC to start this season, same thing, but they run a style of offense that Kyle Whittingham and that bunch simply cannot cover well. So I would lean USC here, but I also can't trust USC to do anything. They should have beaten the absolute smack out of Arizona last week, and they couldn't do it. And I just don't know how much they care, which is insane, right?
I don't know. I don't think this USC team's good. It doesn't matter. I think they're going to go undefeated until they play in the big Pac-12 title game, and even that game, I don't know it's going to be a good game.
Yeah,
I just don't. I don't think Utah's very good this year.
Yeah, I don't think.
Now I don't have any information on that other than they lost all their best players, and they're extremely young and inexperienced. And everything I've seen from college football in 2020 with the COVID and doing so much stuff, differently than the way these coaches and teams are having to do things, inexperienced players are not doing well at all. So with that information, I don't think Utah's good. I don't think USC is good.
And we don't know how many guys are going to be out.
They're a hell of a lot better than Utah. And so I don't care.
Utah dealing with COVID issues, the last 2 weeks. That's also an issue. I mean, who knows? Lamar said Utah has way too many question marks on defense. They hadn't even played a game yet. USC probably going to surprise people and win by double digits. Let's see. Francisco said, Gary, how much returning production is Utah bringing back? It is not. It is in the lower fourth of the NCAA. It is not good. I will say that. They brought over Jake Bentley, the former South Carolina quarterback.
Yeah, they have a transfer quarterback, but everything else is.
He didn't even win the job. It doesn't sound like. So it looks like one of the other guys actually won the job, which is insane. If you grad transferred somewhere and couldn't win the job, I mean, that's
happened before.
I know it's happened before, but man, it just I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, moving off of that, let's move into our official picks for the week. We will start with Gary's official picks. I am 40, 34, and 2 on the season, 54.05%. Got back in the winning column last week, and boy, did it feel good. It felt good. So I will start us off with this one. Wake Forest -4.5 at Duke. Look, Wake has killed Duke in recent years. They have absolutely drubbed them. It hasn't even been close. Duke, while they have looked good in spots this year, I trust Wake Forest much more to actually go in and be able to put up a bunch of points. They put up 53 on North Carolina last week. Duke and North Carolina was a completely different game than Wake Forest and North Carolina. I like Wake. I like Wake a lot. I think Dave Clawson and that offense is going to be able to put up a ton of points here. I don't trust Duke to be able to do that. I trust Duke to be able to turn the football over. So give me Wake minus 4.5. I've already told you Kansas State plus 11 at Iowa State. I trust that offense. I trust that defense. I trust Kansas State. I trust the coaching staff. So UCLA at Oregon. I am taking the Ducks minus 13. Yes, UCLA looked fantastic on Sunday morning against Cal, who had not played, who the game got scheduled on 2 days' notice, all that kind of mess. I think Oregon's rushing attack is going to be able to dominate in this game. I think they are going to smash them at the line of scrimmage. Give me the Ducks all day there. I think I wasn't super impressed against Washington State until late in that game, but I do think Washington State is a better team than UCLA. So give me Oregon there. Michigan State at Maryland. Another one. We're going to see if it gets played. If it is, I'm going to be on the right side. Give me Maryland minus 6. Maryland is playing lights out. They will be able to score almost every time that they touch the football. This Michigan State defense, not very good. Maryland can run, and they can throw. They can do anything that they need to with old Funk, the running back, and then Talia Tagovailoa. All over that. Give me Maryland minus 6. Washington State plus 2.5 at Stanford. Stanford should not be favored over anybody right now, especially not Nick Rolovich. San Jose State minus 2.5 at Fresno State. So I was a little scared of this one at first until I looked at exactly who Fresno has beaten and who they have been able to score on. And San Jose State will be able to slow down this offense. And San Jose State, while not a great running team, they have improved over the last 2 weeks. They will be able to run the football on Fresno State. Give me the Spartans minus 2.5. Minnesota team total under 30 against Purdue. That Purdue defense is not that bad. Like, they're not that bad. They can stop the run a little bit. Running is about the only thing Minnesota can do. Give me under 30 for that total. Oregon State team total over 23 against Cal. The Cal defense is insanely inexperienced. Jonathan Smith runs a ton of misdirections. They do a bunch of eye candy. They distract the defense with inexperienced dudes. I'm all over Oregon State being able to score more than 23. I don't trust the Oregon State defense, though. That's why I'm not taking them as an official pick. And then finally, under 45 in Northwestern and Wisconsin. This is going to be, what do you call it, a fight in a phone booth? I mean, it's not a lot of points. They are going to clobber each other, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So under 45 is the play for me on that one. Moving into Chris's official picks.
All right, I'm going to take Purdue minus 3 at Minnesota. It's a Friday night game. I have no idea why this line is only 3. I think Purdue is substantially better than Minnesota. I think Minnesota is a bad team. They are struggling right now. They don't look good on defense. Their offense doesn't scare me. I think Purdue's defensive line is going to give them fits.
Lorenzo Neal.
And I think Purdue is going to score a lot of points in this game.
Yes.
Give me Purdue minus the 3. SMU, talked about earlier, minus 3 at home against Houston. I don't think Houston is nearly as good of a football team as they were last year. They have not improved this year at all as the season has gone on. SMU, on the other hand, substantially better football team. They are kind of seeming to come into their own. They're beating people up that they can beat up, and I think they're the better talented team right now. I don't say this often. I take Sonny Dykes over Hogo all day long right now.
Yeah,
and so that actually matters. I like Cincinnati minus 5.5. I know we've got people on here that think I'm dead wrong on this. They are just a better football team than UCF. They are built to beat teams like this. When they slow this game down, when they bring UCF's average scoring down to half of what it usually is week in and week out, you will come back the next day and you will agree and you will apologize, and that's fine. I don't need the apology. We're all good. Take my advice. Throw your advice away. Auburn minus 10.5 against Tennessee. I don't know who Tennessee could put out there to play quarterback to make me not take Auburn at 10.5 or 11, but Guarantano ain't the guy.
Yep.
This guy plays in quicksand more than any player I've seen in all of college football. When things start going bad for him, it just magnifies itself every drive, every possession. it just gets worse and worse and worse. And there's nothing he can seem to ever do to pull himself out of it. I think Auburn is going to destroy this Tennessee team. I think it's going to get ugly.
Best play, by the way, might be Auburn's second half line because Tennessee
has scored one touchdown the entire second half.
What is it, like 80?
Well, it was up till last week. They were off last week. The week before, when they went into the Arkansas game, it was 7-61, and then Arkansas outscored them
24
to nothing. So you add the 24, so it'd be 85.
85-7 in the second half.
Yeah.
Tennessee does not make adjustments.
People say they can't trust Bo Nix. I don't need you to trust Bo Nix. Yeah. Gortano is going to blow this game.
Trust Tank.
Yeah, but he's going to blow this game completely. Next pick, Washington State plus 2.5 at Stanford. Stanford is getting some love here, and I don't know where the hell that's coming from, man. I just don't. Said I was going to give it 2 weeks. I've given it 2 weeks. I've seen Washington State look way better than I thought they were going to look. Love Coach Rolovich. He was a boy of Gary and I's when he was at Hawaii. I love that he took Mike Leach's place. Couldn't have asked for a better guy to come over to the mainland and take that team over. And Stanford is one of the most, I don't even want to say disappointing because I there was a world in which I saw them being this bad. They're boring. They are so blah on offense and on defense. They're not going to be able to stop them. Wrong team favored here. Washington State's going to win this game outright. Boise State minus 14 going to Hawaii. I do like Hawaii.
On the island.
I think Boise State is coming for blood. They got embarrassed by BYU. Everybody else on their schedule better look out. They're beating everybody by 3 touchdowns. There won't be a number big enough to not take Boise the rest of the year. They don't have a lot of games left, but they're gonna kill everybody. Liberty plus 3.5. I think Liberty is going to be a complete live dog in this game. I love getting the hook. I do think this game could go back and forth, which is why I love having the hook. I love starting off with points because I think either one of these teams can win this game. I don't think either one of these teams are going to win this game by much more than a field goal or a field goal at all. And last team with the ball could just win the damn thing outright. That has a really good shot at being Liberty. Give them to me. One of my favorite games of the week. This is the square of square plays. I know people have talked about it on here. Iowa minus 2.5 against Penn State. If you're still believing in Penn State, you're believing in laundry. That's just it. Because they've showed you nothing on the field. If this team was fighting really hard in games to come back and clawing to try to make these games something special, we would at least see that. We're not. The new quarterback that came in over the old quarterback, he wasn't good. He just wasn't turning the ball over. He was still bad.
Yeah.
I was going to take the ball away from that kid too, I assure you, because that's what Iowa's done. They're just a bully type of defense.
Yes, they are.
And they ran into 2 good teams.
That offensive line for Iowa as well, they are hitting their stride right now.
Yeah.
They are running the ball.
They're going to bully this team up and down the field. I believe that. I think they're going to win this game. I just need them to win it by a field goal. I don't need them to blow them out. Going to Beaver Stadium right now doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right? It just doesn't.
There's no home crowd. There's no nothing.
Yeah. If 100,000 people were there and this was at night and they were all going crazy, we'd be having a different conversation. Those people aren't going to be there. In my last play, Oregon, you have this team also. Oregon minus 13 at UCLA, significantly better team. Just significantly better football team. They should win by 2 touchdowns.
Easy. And I think it probably should be closer to 3. I think had UCLA been beaten by Cal last week, this would have been closer to 20.
Yep.
And instead, we've got it at 13. Feel pretty good about it. So let's go ahead and roll with parlays and teasers. You don't have any this week, do you?
I don't do any of that stuff.
I know you don't. All right. So these are just for fun. We have fun with it. William said, thanks, Gary and Chris, for the picks. The only college football show I need to follow.
Thank
That's
you, guys.
What I'm talking about.
We do appreciate that.
Yes, we appreciate you guys. Quick money line parlay. 7 teams this week. Maryland, Ohio State, Wyoming, UTSA, Texas, Troy, and Alabama. A lot of big-time stuff in there, but also you've got some closer ones with Maryland, UTSA, Texas, Troy. Like those are a little bit smaller lines. That's the ones where it actually boosts the odds. So you got like plus 150 odds on this. Go make some money. knock that thing out. Again, all they got to do is win. All they got to do is win. 7-point teaser for the week. Last week did not hit thanks to, I believe, 1 point. I mean, it's just frustrating as all get out. But either way, Syracuse plus 25. I do not trust Louisville right now, but I also don't know that I can trust Syracuse to be able to keep it within 18, but I do think I can trust them to keep it within 25. Illinois plus 22. I don't think Illinois is that bad. Nebraska, people are all over them now. They got a big win over some laundry, right? So now that means I get a better line. I don't think Illinois is good by any stretch of the imagination, but I've got them at more than 3 touchdowns. Give me that. San Diego State, Nevada, under 52.5. I think that is easy, because I think San Diego State shuts down everybody. And Mississippi State and Georgia under 51.5. Georgia cannot score. Mississippi State cannot score. This seems fairly easy to figure out. If two teams cannot score, there is no way that they get to 51.5 points. So, with those said, I think that's going to wrap it up. Is there anything else we need to hit?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, you guys need to go and watch some action. Make sure that you go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Go ahead, like the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We will be back here on Saturday, of course, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can be notified when we're actually going live. Jump in the comments. We want to know what your picks are this week, what the edge is, where you think we're right, where you think we're wrong, if you think we're funny, if you think we're not, whatever. Toss it in there. We'd love to hear from you. And then make sure you share the show out. We would love to keep growing the community here. We have enjoyed it at Sportsbook Review, and we look to continue to enjoy it for many more weeks, many more years, et cetera, et cetera. So share the show out. Tell your friends about it, because we want to grow this thing as big as humanly possible. SBRpicks.com/pick6. That is the Pick 6 contest. NFL, college, make your picks before Saturday, or I guess if you got a Thursday or Friday night game, go ahead and knock those things out as well. But yeah, make your picks over there. That is SBRpicks.com/pick6, PICK, and the number 6. And of course, remind you again, go ahead and follow us on Twitter. I am at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And we will respond to any questions that you have about any games that we did not have time for today. With that said, we're going to go and watch the MAC games for this evening. So we hope you all have wonderful Tuesdays. We will see you back here again on Saturday for sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you all this weekend.